Hello, and welcome to the Adventures in Alchemy podcast Reboot. Yes, I'm going to call it a reboot because I've been gone for a while. So, before I dive in to the topics, I just want to say a little blessing over this podcast. Yes. May I be of service. May I let the goddess speak. May I be a channel for source energy. May I honor you with my presence. May you receive what you need. So, I want to cover 4 topics on this Reboot podcast, which I'm entitling Slow Onboarding. That's because at my children's high school, the principal says they have a slow onboarding. I was like, what is this? My little Aries rising does not understand slow onboarding, and I am intrigued. And basically, slow onboarding at their school means like the first day you just show up. They don't even do classes, and they just they do advising, and they do all these things to help set you up for success before they dump you into high school. It's pretty cool, pretty different. But as I've been away, I'm going to be taking a slow onboarding process, and I'll explain a little bit more about that later. For those of you who don't know me, I will tell you a little bit, but first, let me just say, these are the 4 topics that I really want to cover. If you just want the nitty-gritty magical how-tos, you can skip this podcast and go on to the next one. But if you want to know a little bit about what to expect, I'm going to tell you what to expect from the reboot and what's going to be going on this podcast from here on out, or for now, right? I'm slow onboarding. I'm not committing to craziness. Number 2, who I am, if you don't know, and why I left for such a long time. I don't even know how long it was, to be honest. I know that I kind of took a leave of absence from most of the world in April. And how you can support Daily Alchemy, which is the internet resource that I run. So those are the 4 things. So let's just go on in and say what to expect. I'm in between intros, y'all. I'm in between intros. I really wanted to slowly onboard and kind of have an intro that I liked. I never have liked the one that we started with, but it did explain a little bit about what to expect. And it was mostly true life stories and from Law of Attraction and tips and techniques on how to work with Law of Attraction. And Law of Attraction, if you've read my book, Personal Alchemy, is not a word I like, but it's a word that people know, so I use it. But I'll be doing probably a bit less of that because in my own personal life, I've kind of returned to more of a magical stance. Always from my childhood, I have been intrigued by magic and witches and alchemists and potion makers and all that good stuff, and plants and animals and ancestors. And some of that I got to a point where I was afraid it was evil and bad and wrong. And I really just dove into the very, very positive thought movement. And there's nothing wrong with positive thought. I work with positive thought. I still work with Law of Attraction type things. But I do find that there is a paradox with that and something lacking with that. So that being said, if you are a Law of Attraction purist and dealing with the dark side of life, working with spirits, working with plants, working with ancestors, working with grimoires, working with witchcraft, working with anything that just doesn't sit with you, then this is probably where we give each other a hug and part ways, because I am going to share a lot more of what I've been doing over the past several years that that's not really Law of Attraction based stuff. That's more magic based stuff. I've always spoken of magic, but I've kind of just always geared it for that law of attraction type audience. And there are problems with that for me, and for my practice has really changed over the past 3 to 4 years. And so I really want to give you stories that are true from my own magical practice and perspective also. And I just want to be open with people and not have to kind of lie about who I am and where I am. And also experiments. I've become a huge fan of experiments. Okay, I've always been one, right? Like that's alchemy kind of in a nutshell, right? Is like, let's do these steps and see what happens. And so that's one thing that I've done with my premium members for the past year. Yeah, like, well, a little of July to July. And right now we're on a little hiatus. So don't get too excited about the premium membership thing, but we'll be coming back up in January, and we'll be setting it up where there'll be 12 experiments through the year for you to play with, and like all kinds of other classes and content. But right now it is closed, dear ones, so I can prep things and get it all nice and ready and slowly, that slow onboarding process. Okay. So that is, in a nutshell, what to expect. I'm going to tell you what I'm doing, what I'm experiencing, what my other peeps are doing and experiencing. And I will probably bring on some people to interview from time to time who are working more in that magical realm. So if you know someone like that, tell them to reach out. Just make sure they kind of are in that same vein. So I've had some people reaching out to me who are lovely people but they're on a different path, and I'm not sure that they're going to fit with the audience that we're creating here now. So that's what to expect. Who I am. My name is Michelle Martin Dobbins. I started Daily Alchemy in the very last month or so of 2013. So I think it was October, November 2013. And for the longest time, all I did was just, kind of write and share my experiences. And if you go back to my blog, there's a lot of great content. Most of it is law of attraction based. There are some other things, but it's going to shift now because for me, it was always spiritual alchemy. So a lot of meditation based practices, a lot of visualization based practices, and those are great and they are wonderful and they work. And I believe that with us being physical beings in the physical world, we also have to do the physical body embodied part of the practice, which was where I kind of lagged for a while. But when I started doing the Daily Alchemy Premium Members Lab, that was one of the things that we did was we had a physical component and a non-physical component, or a metaphysical, there you go, metaphysical component to every experiment that we did. So I feel like that balance is really necessary when you're in a human body. Beyond that, who I am. In a brief nutshell, I live in the southern part of the United States, Greenville, South Carolina area, to be specific. I am the mother of 4 children, ages 19, 14, 14, and 13. So I'm in this interesting place in my life where my oldest is in college and my twins are in high school this year, and my youngest is in her last year of middle school. So I'm getting ready to make that transition. And it's very bittersweet of instead of the mother, I don't see myself as going to crone. And I've recently learned if you're into this kind of maiden mother crone, that there's a step in between, and it's MAGA, MAGA. And that's the woman whose nest is empty and they are having that fullness of being able to really focus on their own career or their own creativity in the world. So I'm very excited about that part of it. Less excited about, well, I am. Like I say, it's bittersweet. I was going to say less excited about my children going off into the world, but I am, because I'm just really excited for the lives that they're going to lead and the fun stuff that they're going to do. So I've been married for 21 years. My husband and I run a heating and air conditioning business. And I love magic, and I love anything occult and otherworldly. And yeah, I love to share all that with everyone. And I live in a place where it's not really that popular. So I reach out to people online and in my local community now. It's kind of growing. So I do run a little group here as well for metaphysical women. So that's just a bit about me. As I said, I started this in 2013. I started with the blog, and then I started doing these little podcasts. And then I started doing a lot of social media and a lot of Facebook Lives and a lot of things. And a couple of things happened. One was that 2019 became kind of what I like to refer to in my world as the year of 100 paper cuts. Nothing too traumatic, but lots of little things happening, some of them not so little, illnesses and just lots. So that kind of put me in a tailspin, because it coincided with me realizing that just focusing on the positive aspects of everything was not my true nature. I've never been that way. I've always been kind of the darker person, and not in a negative way, but I love graveyards. Love seems odd, but I used to do a lot of projects when I was in college on like helping children deal with death. My first career was as a school teacher. Yeah, I'm just a big believer that we have to deal with our shadow. But for some reason, I started out early in life understanding that, and then I ran away from that. I don't know if it was just getting married and having kids, and like anything dark became like a no-no for quite a period of time for, I don't know, I'm going to say like 12, 13 years of my life. I just really, really focused on the positive, and in doing so, denied my shadow self and spiritual bypassed the heck out of a lot of things. And you can still manifest really cool things in your life while you're denying some blatant problems in your life, while you're denying putting up boundaries in your life. That word, spiritual bypassing. I've been doing a lot of that, and I've been correcting that this year. It's still a work in progress. I'm learning to create boundaries, learning to protect myself. And I will be honest, I had that mentality of, if I have a positive outlook, why do I need to protect myself? And I found out that you really can leech your energy out so much if you're not just kind of doing some bit of basic protection around yourself. And I just spilled myself far too far. Spread myself very thin. I did a lot of social media. I did a lot of stuff, and I was not taking care of myself in the way that I needed to. I thought I was, but then I realized I wasn't. So I stepped back in April, not even really intentionally, but I just couldn't do a lot of the things anymore. I just stopped pretty much doing social media. It took a while, but I ended up taking off all of my social media apps off my phone, so that it just felt like I couldn't breathe, because they were always there looking at me saying, you should be posting, you should be posting, you should be posting. And I was like, whoa. And I still kept working with my premium membership and some private clients. And as of last month, I cut all of that off temporarily so I could just Like, it was the last month before my daughter went off to college and things, and I just wanted to really kind of deeply connect in with some family things. There were some members of my family who were ill. I wanted to be there for them. And then, take a step back and decide, like, how can I best serve? Because I've known for a while that posting memes on Instagram is not necessarily going to make somebody else's life better. I mean, it can definitely brighten somebody's day or be a sign for somebody or lift somebody's mood, but like, what is my purpose? How am I here to serve? And so that's why I'm kind of doing a slow onboarding, and I really decided that I wanted to start with the podcast, and I'll be doing some stuff to prep up for the premium membership to open up to new people. Right now it's kind of in a little pause place, but as I'm doing that, I'm just really, really deeply connecting into how I can best be of service, and like what parts of my magical life are safe for me to share, and what kind of boundaries I need to put in place to keep myself protected. So that's where we are, and I am not going to make a promise about how many podcast episodes I will do, but I plan on doing regular ones. That feels really, really hard for a Virgo to say. So going forward, I would love to engage with you. If there are things and questions you have about magic, you can definitely ask me, and I will be glad to do podcast episodes on anything I know about and pass you on to people who know more about things. And that's one thing that I will be doing here is, like, as I'm changing up my own path a little bit and really looking deeper, I'm working with some other teachers. So if there's something that I'm learning that I think is like bomb that might really reach out to somebody else, I'm going to be sharing those teachers. I'm not going to be teaching what they teach. I'm not going to be stealing their content, because we all have our own spark of genius to share with the world. And I happen to be lucky enough to attract a lot of genius teachers, or they attract me, I guess. Maybe that's how it is. But so I'm always working and learning new things and working with new teachers. So I'll share that information with you too as well. So this may not be the best podcast to look at for reviews, but one way that you can support me and the work at Daily Alchemy is by leaving a review, especially on iTunes, as that makes such a big difference. Another way is you can go to my website, dailyalchemy.com, and there you will find a link to an Amazon storefront that will give you lists of like all my favorite books on favorite topics, my favorite organic teas, and different things. So if you go to that Amazon storefront and you purchase through that link, then I get a little affiliate commission. I'm back and forth on how I feel about Amazon, but for right now, I feel like it's kind of a necessary evil. Not necessarily a necessary evil, but I have not been able to kick the Amazon habit, so I still feel okay with sharing that link. Although I will say I always do try to buy as much as I can in a local bookstore or a local shop. But when I can't, Amazon is a great backup. So even if you go to Amazon just to see what's on the list, and then you can find a local place to buy it, I'm all down for that as well. So in the future, there will be the Daily Alchemy Premium membership, and I'll let you guys know more about that as it comes. And the big thing coming up is the 2020 Moon and Magic Planner. I did a 2019 version of the Moon and Magic Planner, and I just made a planner that was like everything that I wanted in a planner. It goes, there's 13 months. 13 moons. So we go by the moons and not the month. So you turn the page on the new moon. And so you can kind of track that more natural way of going through life by moons instead of months. There's also weekly planning days and like monthly check-ins, and there's a one-line diary if there's something that you like to track or just share one thought about every day. There's really cool notes pages and dots pages for those people who like to do bullet journals. The one thing that I did add new this year was a place for you to put an oracle reading for the year. There's also a place for your word of the year and your goals for the year, and some scripting work to script out your best days of the year. So there's a lot of magical stuff in there. Every week there's a place, if you like to work with an oracle, that you can put your oracle for the week, that you can write what kind of magical experiments or spells or plants that you're working with and how it's going. Yeah, all kinds of stuff for magical type peeps. So the 2021 will be up for pre-order very soon. I believe I'm going to end the pre-order right about November 1st or 2nd. And then the physical copies will be starting to come 2 or 3 weeks after that. So I hope to have those by Thanksgiving so that everybody is totally prepared for the new year and having the most magical year with the moon that they can in 2020. So if you're looking for that, all you have to do is go to dailyalchemy.com, and there will be a big link there that will take you to the Daily Alchemy Emporium. And as I've been on hiatus, the only thing in there right now is that planner, but I will be adding more soon. So thank you so much for taking the time to listen to me. If you are still here, ramble on about the reboot and my slow onboarding. I wish you much love, much magic, and I'm just going to bless us out by saying, may we follow our passions, may we be good descendants, may we be future exalted ancestors, and may we live magically in the now. All right, big hugs and magic to you.